Rick Santorum is going to go on CNN to defend Trumpcare, especially after the disastrous CBO numbers have came out. And what he's going to do is that he's actually going to argue that 14 million people losing their health insurance in the first year and a total of 24 million over the next 10 years isn't actually such a bad thing. In fact, we kind of expected it. Let's take a look.
You look at those headlines and you got to say, ouch, don't you?
Oh, yeah, those good headlines. As you reported, I mean, they're really not unexpected headlines. I mean, as Speaker Ryan said, if you don't mandate something and you're going to cut some of the subsidies that are in place, of course, fewer people are going to get insurance, go out and buy insurance. But the overall direction is correct. I mean, there will be fewer people that will be insured. We're going to spend a lot less money. The deficit's going to come down. And this is what's not talked about, I think over time, as the market adjusts, you're going to see lower costs. You're going to see more plans offered that are lower cost plans, particularly for younger people who even today are not in the market, get in that market.
Okay, so basically, I'm going to break this down. So to Rick Santorum, less people insured is somehow a good thing. But wait, I thought the whole point of healthcare reform was to get more people covered. Isn't that the whole point of insurance? I mean, I guess they don't quite understand, and I've seen this, Paul Ryan and now Rick Santorum, they don't understand how this whole insurance thing is supposed to work. You want more people to get covered, not less. Well, either they don't know how it works or they don't care how it works. Now, look, Santorum is right about one thing. Now, according to the CBO numbers, there will be some costs on the premiums itself that will go down. That doesn't necessarily include copays and deductibles. And see, that's the stuff that they never tell you about this. But basically, if you're 21 years old making about $68,000 a year, well, you're going to end up saving money on your premiums. Well, good for you. But if you're 64 years old and making about $24,000 a year, you're going to end up paying about $14,000 in premiums alone. That is insane. Nobody can afford that. If you're making $24,000 a year, can you afford to pay 14 grand in just premiums? No way. No way, no how. Not happening. That's insanity. But of course, Rick Santorum is going to go on to defend this by saying, well, hey, it just leads to more choice. Either pay our ransom or die. Take a look.
Well, we do believe in choice, and what the Obamacare never did was give people choices. It ratcheted up the benefits for everyone, and then
it did have requirements, Senator, for certain things that are important for people to have, right? I mean, it included and maybe you would disagree, but some things that people would want to have, like maternity care, as an example.
Well, I mean, for Little Sisters of the Poor, they don't need maternity care. So people should be able to buy the policy they want. And that's really a basic understanding that Republicans have said from the very beginning, that you shouldn't be forced to have coverages that you don't want to have covered. And whether it's abortion coverage or a whole host of other things, those things should not be included. But how does an insurance
market work, right? I mean, you need to have kids to have a society function. And if only people who are having pay for maternity care when they're having babies, that's going to become exponentially expensive. Just to take this one example, right? It doesn't work without everyone paying for it.
No, I understand that, but look, what Obamacare did was put a lot of requirements, a lot of things in these, loaded up these plans that are very expensive plans that aren't necessary for people, particularly a lot of younger workers who we want to get into the system.
Whoa, okay. This is great. Erin Burnett, and that's somebody who I've criticized, rightly so, because she seems to always defend the banks and the rich and powerful, go after Rick Santorum. She schooled his ass. You don't actually understand how this works, do you? I mean, you got to have this for this insurance to work, right? They don't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't get what the whole point of insurance. The whole point of insurance is to get covered for stuff that you might not need yet. For example, you might not be that person, to use their analogy, right, with maternity care. You might not be pregnant now, but maybe later on you are. Or maybe there's like an accident, and that happens. Accidental pregnancy, that happens. That happens, right? And so, look, you could say, well, what does the 64-year-old need with maternity care? What goes to help other people pay for stuff? Again, the whole point of insurance is to spread out risk and to have a large pool of money of people paying into this system to be able to cover everyone else who needs that insurance. You start doing some of this a la carte stuff, well, okay, then you're going to have less money to cover the people who actually need it. That's the whole point of insurance, again, is to spread out that risk. Again, Rick Santorum has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Okay? But look, again, it's for preparing for things that might happen. Now, finally, after blaming Obamacare for being a failure, right, as you saw there, you had Gene Sperling, who was also on this show, to look, the guy finally had enough of listening to the bullshit and decided to go off on him. This is my favorite part. Let's take a look.
I cannot understand why a Republican governor or Republican senators would be for this when it's going to hurt their own citizens. And I appreciate Senator Santorum mentioning moments we were bipartisan, but I don't agree with him in this case. In terms of Medicaid, you want a guarantee for people who with disabilities on nursing homes. I don't want to make state governors have to ration health care so that and mean 14 million less people are on because of Medicaid, cutting $880 billion. And let's be honest, that's not about health care reform. That is to pay for the tax relief in this that goes mostly top 1%. And here's one thing everyone should think of. Of all the savings in this bill, are any on special interest on health care? Are any on the drug companies? Are any on high-income Americans? No. All of it is on people with disabilities and nursing home and near poor who rely on subsidies and Medicaid. How is that a just way to deal with health care? There's fixes we need. We should do in a bipartisan way. This bill gets a failing grade, and I don't think senators on the Republican side even want to see it come over to their chamber.
Damn. Look, yes, how is that a just way to deal with health care? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's not. It's not just. Like, for people who are against, who are against the ACA, or even against things like Medicare for all, like, you got to understand, the whole thing, this bill, this isn't about health care. The whole thing, the whole fight over the ACA was all about tax cuts for the rich. Okay? If you were, like, if you followed all these Republican politicians, and you heard of them say all this stuff about the Obamacare is such a bad bill, it's so terrible. It's actually, look, it's not that they care about your premiums. They don't care about your premiums being too high. They don't care about your deductibles being too high. We care about it. Progressives care about it, which is why we put forward a Medicare for all system. That's why we talk about a single payer. That's why we talk about a public option. But these Republicans, all they care about is getting tax breaks for the rich. That's what it's about. The biggest beneficiaries of this plan are rich people and younger rich people. And Rick Santorum knows it, and yet he cannot justify. He can't defend this. He can't justify it. You could talk about freedom and choice all you want, but as soon as people start seeing those higher premiums, they're going to be pissed. And rightly so. But see, if it gets to that point, if they actually pass this, Trump and the Republicans, they're again not going to care because they've already won. They've already passed this. Their wealthy donors have already got their tax cuts, and you are stuck with a piece of shit. That's what. So what's the next move? Well, look, the next move is how we deal with this, okay? I think if this goes through, and again, I've said it before, this could pave the way for a single-payer healthcare system. This monstrosity of a bill, or as a liberal redneck calls it, an abortion of a bill, might actually get people sick and tired enough of our for-profit healthcare system and move us towards something better. Something that's more single-payer, that's a Medicare for all option. And I got to tell you guys, everybody at home, if you want that, then you've got to keep fighting for it. Okay? It's not just about trying to save the ACA. This is about trying to move forward. This is trying to get a Medicare for all system, something that actually truly covers everyone and is better. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.